So, the other thing I wanted to do today was go through this Tal Rasha set. And basically, we've got the 6-piece bonus for Tal Rasha, right? The first one is basically going to give you meteors dropping from the sky when you hit with different element types, arcane, cold, fire, or lightning. The second one makes those elements raise your resistances by 100% for 8 seconds. And attacking with meteor reduces the cooldown of teleport by 1 second. And the meteors that drop because of the 2-piece set do count towards that. So that's awesome. And the 6-piece set gives you 2,000% damage increase for 8 seconds per type of element that you drop. So just using fire or just using cold is 2,000%, right? So you want to use all 4, which is really great. So we're taking the helm, we're taking the chest piece, we're taking the gloves, we're taking the pants, and we're taking the amulet. And then we're tying that in together with the Ring of Royal Grandeur, right? So otherwise, we've got the Paulders, the Skeleton King on. You can make arguments for all sorts of different stuff there. The bracers and the belt go together. We're using the Guardians Jeopardy set here, and we get the 3-piece bonus because of the Ring of Royal Grandeur. So the 2-piece gives you melee reduction, 1% per 1,000 base of vitality from equipped items, which is cool. So the more vit you have on items, more your melee damage is reduced when you get hit by melee. Your missile damage is also the same based on the other ones. So if you're an intelligence character, which this one is, it's based off intelligence. Or whichever one's higher, I guess. If you're an intelligence class and you're stacking strength, sure, why not? The 3-piece set is awesome. It gives you 100% of your base strength, dexterity, intelligence, and vitality from equipped items. So it's not just one, it's all of them, which is just fantastic in this case, because this build can be a little bit squishy. So that's the bracers and the belt, right? The rings, we're running the Halo of Karini, and that's more damage reduction. This is not exactly a wonderful percent roll, 63%, but it's better than nothing. I happen to have the Molten Wildebeest Gizzard in here. You can run whatever you want, really. I just like survivability and not dying all the time. We're running in a convention of elements. So again, this build is based on elemental damage, right? So when you have a convention of elements on, it will rotate through the elements that you have on the character. So this one's going to rotate through cold, fire, arcane, and lightning. And no matter what it's on, I'm getting a buff because I'm using all of those elements almost all the time, right? So it just depends on which element's getting buffed at what time. So that's a great addition. Wonderful addition. I am running Bane of the Powerful. You can run Stricken. You can run whatever you want. I'm just using Powerful because I'm not in super high level content, and this gives me a nice 20% increased damage for an amount of seconds, depending on what level the gym is, after killing an elite pack. So that's good for me. You will want the Nilfer's Boast. This is increasing the meteor damage by 600%, and when your meteor hits 3 or fewer enemies, the damage is increased by another percentage. I think 900 is the maximum. This one rolled at 894. We're good. For what did I not go over? I think that's everything. Oh, the weapon. The weapon, we're using the Grand Vizier. You could potentially go and put the Smoldering Core here. Either way, you need one of those weapons to hold, and you need the other one in the cube. For speeds, you could argue that the Grand Vizier is more important, and you could swap out the Smoldering Core for something like Ingeom or whatever you want to do. The Smoldering Core is going to be more, I feel like it's going to be for more higher level content because it does damage on consecutive hits, right? And it stacks. So this one's giving me up to 500% damage increase for consecutive hits. The Grand Vizier reduces the arcane power cost of meteor by 50%, increases its damage by 400. So the big thing here is the damage increase, 400%. But if you're running the setup where you're using the cold meteor instead of the arcane meteor, then this is going to be a big deal because of the resource cost reduction, right? So next we have in the cube the Mimpo of Twilight. Meteor Shower Rune is now applied to all cast meteors and deals 400% increased damage. So we get another buff to meteor, and instead of dropping one meteor, it drops a meteor shower, right? So we like that. We like that. So we're just really buffing meteor here. Meteor is the killer, right? And we're dropping a lot of meteors. So, oh yeah, and this is actually the build where I'm using the cold meteor. So really, all the resource cost reduction I can get is great. So with that being said, in the helm, I'm running a topaz for resource cost reduction. Right now, I'm running rubies in the pants and the chest piece. You could run topaz if you're feeling like you don't need damage reduction, and that is perfectly fine. The other one I'm running is Bane of the Trap, or the other gem I'm running, I'm sorry, is Bane of the Trap. And since we are using the cold meteor that's chilling enemies and freezing chilled enemies for 1 second upon impact, we're getting a pretty big damage increase off of Bane of the Trap. Plus, Bane of the Trap is slowing things within 15 yards anyway, so all good and fine. Basically, with this build, you're kind of just teleporting into groups, and then using your meteors, and then teleporting out. So with the skills, we've got Storm Armor on again, but we're using Power of the Storm. So it's reducing the arcane power cost of skills by 3 while Storm Armor is active. So resource cost reduction, right? We're running Meteor with Comet, right? So the cold one. So we've got our Lightning and we've got our Cold. And then we've got, again, familiar with Spark Flint. So that's our Fire. Our arcane damage is coming from Teleport. And we're using the Calamity Rune. So cast a short range wave of force upon arrival, dealing some amount of damage as arcane, right? So that's our arcane damage. We're using magic weapon deflection. When you perform an attack, you gain a protective shield for 3 seconds that absorbs 4% of your life and damage. So, we're getting some damage reduction there, and then we're getting more damage reduction from Diamond Skin, but we're also reducing the arcane power cost of skills by 9 while Diamond Skin is active. So we've got a lot of resource cost reduction going on, which is really important, especially in higher level content, because this meteor is not quite as strong as the arcane meteor, right? The arcane meteor takes all your arcane power, dumps it into one comet, and does a whole bunch of damage. But this one is just a one cast. It does like some flat damage all the time. Doesn't matter. It's doing that. But then we've got so much damage modifiers going on that we're able to just run around and just kind of just pop things. And this is for T16, right? So if you're going higher than T16, if you're doing graders, you may find yourself porting in and then just sitting here and holding this button for a minute. And you can see my resources are going down because I'm not using Diamond Skin, right? If I let that go back up, I can pour it in, pop my Diamond Armor, and then look at my resources. They're not going down as quickly, right? So you want to keep your Diamond Armor up when you can, while you're basically, I would call it channeling Meteor, right? Because that's just, essentially what we're doing is channeling Meteor. I would want to pop Diamond Armor just like that. It gives you damage reduction, which is great because you're standing still, but also resource cost reduction. So those are the key points to this build. If you want to know where the set dungeon is, it is in Act 1. It is in the old ruins, right? From the old ruins, we're going to go up and to the right. We're going to go this way. And we're just going to follow this path around for a minute. We're going to hop on through. You'll see some stuff. And here's that shack where you go down there and hit the pot and you get some sort of scroll or something. I don't know. I can't remember. It's been a long time since I've done the campaign. But after that shack, you wind around to here and boom. Here is the set dungeon for Tal Rasha. So I already have a video up on me completing this with Tal Rasha, but not this build. So we're going to hop in. And basically we need to kill 9 enemies while Tal Rasha is stacked 4 times and not get bitten by a rockworm. So the first objective there, kill 90 enemies while Tal Rasha is stacked 4 times. That one is important, right? It means that we need to get damage out as quickly as possible with all 4 of our elements so that we get our 4 stacks. And then once it's up, we can just hit one thing at a time with whatever element, and it's going to leave us at 4 stacks. It gets refreshed that way. So for mastery, you're going to want to complete both objectives and kill everything in the entire dungeon. So obviously don't take fatal damage, and game difficulty has no effect on dungeon difficulty. So it doesn't matter if you go in on master or T16, the dungeon is still going to be the same difficulty every time. It will not scale with your difficulty selection. So let's take a quick look and see what that looks like. I'm going to activate all of my stuffs, and we're not going to do anything until we find something to teleport into. Right? Boom. We're going to teleport into it. We've got our arcane up. We should have everything else up. And we can see in the top right corner that counter is ticking. On the mini map, you see this skull right here. That is a rockworm. There it is. And we can see that it popped up and tried to bite me. And that's what you want to avoid. You want to avoid being bitten by these stupid rockworms. I absolutely hate them. They are the worst. So we can go over here to the right. We clear that room. We go over here to the right. And then once we hit right about here-ish, we're going to turn around. Why are we going to turn around, you might ask? Well, great question. Because the rest of the dungeon up to the right goes to the right. So we want to be as time efficient as we can in what we do here. So again, we got to get our stacks up because I dropped them. And there we go. We got our stacks back up. And we may have to do it again. Oh no, it stayed up. Okay, cool. Our stack stayed up. Always make sure you're watching the mini-map for worms. I almost got hit by one there, and that would have been hilarious, right? We all would have laughed because I would have been hit by a rockworm. And you can tell it's a rockworm when it's moving around all crazy on the mini-map, and you can't see it on the screen. We're almost to the point where we have gotten Objective 1 completed. There's Objective 1. So really all we need to do is clear the rest of this dungeon without getting hit by this stupid rockworm that's going to come up right there. Boom, there it goes. And then there's some more rockworms we're going to have to avoid, but that, you know, just if you can spot them on the mini-map, they're easy to avoid. Like there's one popping up right there. And they do a little animation. I don't know if you caught that, but they do a little animation when they're coming out of the ground. So you do have some amount of time to spot it and avoid it. But it can be difficult. It can be difficult. If you're not used to this dungeon, if it's your first time running this dungeon, don't worry if it takes you multiple times to complete it. It happens. Best thing I can say is just watch your mini map, right? Because that's, you know, that's where everything's gonna catch you off guard. I mean, don't play off of your mini map, because then you're gonna miss what's on the screen, right? But you need to look at the mini map and see where everything is at. And there we go, mastery. So I hope this helps you all out. If you have any questions, feel free to leave a comment. Or if you like this content, please leave a like, smash all of the buttons that do the cool stuffs, and check me out on Twitch when I'm live.